Stephen Kinnock.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's a pleasure to follow the honourable gentleman. It's clear that the Prime Minister's deal is dead in the water, so it's imperative that we now turn our thoughts to the alternatives. And in doing so, we must ask ourselves a very simple but vitally important question. What did the 52-48 mandate actually instruct this House to do? And the answer to that question is clear. It was a call for Britain to leave the EU's political institutions and project, whilst maintaining the closest possible economic relationship with the 500 million consumers on our doorstep. It was an instruction to move house, but to stay in the same neighbourhood. So the fundamental question is this: how do we convert that mandate into practice? Well, first we must seek a general election. But if that is not possible, then we must pivot immediately to Norway Plus. Many people refer to Norway Plus as a Plan B, but for me it has always been Plan A. For 2 years now, I've been making the case for an EEA-based Brexit because I believe passionately that it offers an exciting future. It would enable us to be a leading light in a group of like-minded European countries that sit outside the political institutions of the EU but enjoy full participation in the single market. It would also enable us to reimagine and reinvent our relationship with Europe. European leaders are now recognising the limitations of the EU's one-size-fits-all approach to integration. President Macron, in particular, is a strong supporter of the concept of a multi-tier Europe that better reflects the different histories, cultures and political temperaments of its component parts. Importantly, Norway's Prime Minister and Iceland's Foreign Minister have also confirmed they would welcome us into the EEA, whilst Michel Barnier has made it clear that from the outset the EEA plus a form of customs union was always on the table. Some are concerned about our ability to control immigration in the EEA, but Articles 112 and 113 of the EEA Agreement enable any EEA country to suspend and reform any one of the 4 freedoms that underpin the single market. Yes, the EU could take retaliatory measures, but these actions would have to be both proportionate and in accordance with the original Act. Norway Plus would also solve the Irish border issue because Single Market Plus Customs Union delivers frictionless trade and is therefore currently the only realistic guarantor of the Good Friday Agreement. Mr. Speaker, my party's frontbench amendment calls for a permanent customs union and a strong single market deal. Well, I have to say that sounds like Norway Plus to me. If 6 tests and our frontbench amendment clearly set out the what, well, Norway Plus provides the how. If our front bench were to adopt Norway Plus, it would become the flesh on the bones of Labour's Brexit policy, because it's the only plan that offers the certainty, clarity and security of leaving the EU via a well-established, well-understood and fully ratified international treaty. By committing to Norway Plus, we would be underlining the fact that we're not only an opposition, we are a government in waiting, with a constructive, realistic and workable proposal that is truly in the national interest, that can clearly command a cross-party majority in this House and that can dig us out of this constitutional crisis. Mr. Speaker, our country is not only polarised, it is paralysed. Communities and families are divided, and Parliament has fought itself to a standstill. As politicians, we desperately need to start building bridges. Having campaigned for Remain, I can see the attraction of a people's vote, but I can also see the risks. What would it say about our fragile parliamentary democracy if we just throw this back to the public? Mr. Speaker, call me old-fashioned, but I still believe passionately in parliamentary sovereignty. Our constituents are crying out for us to do the job and solve this problem. A Norway Plus-based Brexit would be a strong compromise in the national interest, and it's only by compromising we'll get ourselves out of this mess. It is only by doing this that we can reunite our deeply divided